Indian Lake. It's 8 o'clock.
Good morning. This is Northern Light for Tuesday, June 20th. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe.
Governor Kathy Hochul was in the Adirondacks last weekend for the grand opening of the Lodge on Scroon Lake, which got a multi-million-dollar investment from the state.
It's so nice the state can be a catalyst and show that we have faith in you, that we believe in this project. And that's what I want to continue doing all over the state of New York, is giving sometimes the last mile, that extra money that will get you over the finish line during tough times.
Also, we'll hear from seniors in Governor in St. Lawrence County. Local and state Office for the Aging workers recently gathered to get feedback from them on a long-term plan to help them and their caregivers.
I'm wondering what thoughts you all have about services for older adults. Any questions you have about this process of putting together the state plan, or just what's on the top of your mind that you want me to bring back to Albany.
And St. Lawrence University astronomer Eileen O'Donoghue joins us to talk about what's up in the morning and evening summer skies. All that's coming up on Northern Light. Stick with us.
Broadcast of Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio is supported by Adirondack Foundation and the Adirondack Birth to Three Alliance, dedicated to providing all children the best possible start in life, AdirondackBT3.org, and Citizen Advocates, offering the North Country mental health, addiction, and housing services, plus crisis care, job training, and more. citizenadvocates.net/124.
This is Northern Light. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe. Communities in Watertown, the Adirondacks, and Burlington celebrated Juneteenth yesterday and over the weekend. In Potsdam, community members came in from the rain and gathered at Clarkson University. We checked in with some of them to see what Juneteenth means to them.
Adriana Dupre. I am here today because I care very much about Black lives, and obviously most people don't, so I'm here to make a difference. I think the turnout is okay. I mean, usually there's been a lot more people at protests and stuff like that, but I feel like the turnout for today is okay because it is inside because of the weather.
I'm Nadine Manasseh. I'm from Tanzania, a country in East Africa. It's my first time celebrating Juneteenth, and I think Juneteenth to me means a celebration to keep the history alive, remembering the people who actually fought for the freedom that we have right now as Black people, which is something I didn't have to think about before in my country. But coming here, I see the significance and the importance of keeping the history alive for the next generation so that we can always remember people who actually fought for what we have right now, and something that we are continuing to be proud of. And yeah, it's really nice to celebrate that.
Jennifer Backstrom. Juneteenth means a lot to me as far as it being when the last slaves were freed. And it means that people need to be educated on it because many people from the North Country don't know about it and didn't know anything about it until I decided to organize it in 2020. People, like I said, need to learn about it, and we need to just get more people throughout St. Lawrence County to organize events like this.
That was Adriana Dupre, Nadine Manasseh, and Jennifer Backstrom sharing what Juneteenth means to them. This Vox was produced by our intern, Kelly Daphnis. A new hotel opened in the eastern Adirondacks last week. The Lodge at Scroon Lake was a $25 million project that was partially funded by a state grant. Governor Kathy Hochul was in Scroon Lake for the hotel's grand opening. Emily Russell reports.
Last Friday, Governor Kathy Hochul stepped in front of a podium in the newly renovated Lodge at Scroon Lake.
You know I love the North Country. Not allowed to play favorites, but I do love the North Country. And I've
Behind her
so
hung
many
a
times
full-size
as a
canoe,
child.
huge framed prints
all
of
the way up
fish,
to,
fishing tackle, and flies,
Lake
giving off a
Placid,
very Adirondack resort vibe. This particular place is more than 100 years old.
1917 opened up as a place of respite for people coming out of New York City for the summer. Like so many parts of the North Country when there wasn't air conditioning. This is the place people came to just recharge and reconnect with their families.
Back then, it was known as the Brown Swan Club. Then in the 1950s, it became the Word of Life Lodge, a religious-based resort and conference center. The lodge closed during the pandemic and sat empty for the last few years. Then it went on the market.
One day, woke up, my wife looked at me and said, "We have an opportunity up in Scroon Lake. You got to go up and take a look at it."
That's Saratoga Springs developer Sonny Bonaccio.
I said, "Honey, I'm busy for the next 4 days." Of course, I was up at Scroon Lake the very next morning at 8 a.m.
Bonaccio and his wife bought the former lodge for $4.2 million. He and their other business partners poured millions more into the project over the last year. They also secured a $4.1 million state grant through the Upstate Revitalization Initiative. At Friday's grand opening, Hochul said she sees that kind of funding playing an important role in projects like this one.
But sometimes the state can be a catalyst and show that we have faith in you, that we believe in this project. And that's what I want to continue doing all over the state of New York, is giving sometimes the last mile, that extra money that will get you over the finish line during tough times. So
the lodge at Scroon Lake has 116 rooms, as well as cabins, suites, and a 10,000 square foot restaurant. The owner says they've already booked a handful of weddings there this summer. In the last few years, there have been other hotel openings and renovations in Adirondack hubs like Saranac Lake and Lake Placid. Essex County Board Chairman Sean Gilliland said he's hopeful for the region's future.
This event today is, I would say, is an event within the larger renaissance of our county and of the Adirondacks itself.
At the end of the event, Hochul, the hotel developers, and a few other county and state officials were handed large scissors to cut the ribbon at the new lodge at Scroon Lake.
Ready to cut? 1, 2, 3.
Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio.
Governor Hochul is warning us to keep an eye on air quality advisories issued by the state this week. Canadian wildfires continue to burn, and the DEC is predicting a moderate to high air quality index level for eastern Lake Ontario and central New York today. Levels are still far lower than much of the state experienced a couple of weeks ago. The Adirondack North Country is expected to have good air quality today. You can sign up to get the state's air quality health advisories on the DEC website. There's an up-to-date map of air quality at airnow.gov.
And 2 airports in the North Country were among more than a dozen statewide to get federal funding for upgrades. The airports in Messina and Malone received the money through the Airport Improvement Program. Messina was awarded nearly $1 million to update its runway, including the lighting on the taxiway. Malone got a $90,000 grant from the federal program, which will go towards studying the facility. In recent years, the airports in Plattsburgh, Ogdensburg, Watertown, Potsdam, and Messina have all received federal funding for improvements.
You're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. It's 9 minutes past 8. Good morning. I'm Todd Moe.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, astronomer Eileen O'Donoghue joins us to talk about what to look for in the evening and morning summer skies. That's in just a few minutes, right here on Northern Light.
That's Hank Soto on the guitar from Stony Creek. You can check out more of his music on our website. Hank's music is part of the Underscore project at ncpr.org/underscore. Northern Light is supported by Adirondack Foundation and the Adirondack Birth to 3 Alliance, dedicated to providing all children the best possible start in life, AdirondackBT3.org. And by Citizen Advocates, offering the North Country mental health, addiction, and housing services, plus crisis care, job training, and more. citizenadvocates.net/124.
Last month, the State Office for the Aging held a public forum in the St. Lawrence County town of Gouverneur. It was part of an effort to get public feedback as the state works on its next 4-year plan for helping older adults and the people who take care of them. Our reporter Lucy Grindon was there and has our story.
Representatives from the State Office for the Aging and local seniors are gathered at the Gouverneur Community Center.
I'm Crystal, and I'm from the New York State Office for the Aging, and I'm here to talk about our state plan.
Crystal Collette is the Assistant Director for Special Projects with the State Office for the Aging.
We're such a small group. I want to keep this really informal.
We're talking a really small group, just 4 seniors. The officials actually outnumber them. After Collette goes over the state's plan, she asks for their feedback.
I'm wondering what thoughts you all have about services for older adults. Any questions you have about this process of putting together the state plan, or just what's on the top of your mind that you want me to bring back to Albany.
One woman says she's been worrying about how to afford the food she needs since her SNAP benefits decreased a few months ago. The Office for the Aging actually serves a free lunch here at the community center every weekday. Dan Spellman runs the community center, and he pipes up to say something.
You're not alone. 56% of our community right here in Gouverneur lives below the poverty line. So don't feel you're alone, but call for help. Don't hesitate.
The Office for the Aging also does meal deliveries to senior living facilities and to individual homes. The woman didn't know that until this meeting.
But you have that here. You don't deliver that, right?
They deliver to Pine Grove every day?
No, I know. I don't live at Pine Grove anymore.
Oh, you don't live there? Where do you
No, I went back home.
Talk to these ladies.
Yeah, talk to us, and we can help. We can help you figure out food options.
They can deliver daily, weekly, any way you like it.
They'll deliver to any senior, regardless of their financial situation.
That's actually my favorite part, is the home-delivered meals, to go out and see them.
That's Danielle Durant. She's the nutrition program manager for the St. Lawrence County Office for the Aging.
It gives you a good idea of the food insecurities that we have, because that might be their only meal that they get all day.
A lot of seniors in St. Lawrence County, many of whom live on fixed Social Security incomes, rely on the Office of the Aging for food. Altogether in St. Lawrence County, about 15% of the population lives below the poverty line.
Our priority is making sure that they're getting that nutritious meal to stay at home, stay at the hospital, age in place.
Durant coordinates about 120 to 130 meal deliveries a day, as well as the in-person lunches served here in Gouverneur and at 7 other locations in St. Lawrence County. The deliveries are crucial. A lot of older adults in the North Country struggle to get around because of limited public transportation options. For seniors who don't have cars, the solution is often a patchwork of family members and friends who can drive them places. In fact, even though the lunches here are free, Spellman says they're not very well attended.
The people who come here for lunch, we get included 3.
When I ask him how the lunch regulars do get here, he mentions a guy named Donnie with a blue car who picks up friends and gives them a ride. The older population can also be hard to reach because of a lack of tech savvy. One of the seniors brings up that issue.
I know a lot of seniors that either don't have a computer or they use it to play Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And that might be some of the problem.
Without the internet or a car, a lot of people can't access the help that's there for them because they simply don't know it's available. Spellman, who runs the community center, and the Office for the Aging representatives make a point of telling the seniors to bring their friends to lunch and to call the Office for the Aging if they need help. The local office's number is 315-386-4730. The state office's 4-year plan for supporting older adults will be finalized by the beginning of August. Lucy Grindon, North Country Public Radio.
You're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. I'm Todd Moe.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. Coming up in just a minute, we'll talk with astronomer Eileen O'Donoghue. Then stick around after the show for Bird Note just ahead at 8:42. The California condor thrived during the days of mammoths and saber-toothed tigers. And today, they're one of the most endangered birds in the U.S. We'll hear more coming up in about a half an hour right here on NCPR. But first, Todd has a look at the weather for us.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be hot today. Highs in the low 80s with sunshine and winds out of the east, northeast, lows in the 50s tonight, and probably highs in the 80s the next few days with a mix of sun and clouds Wednesday, Thursday, maybe a chance of some showers on Friday. I won't complain right now, though, because it's sunny and 64 degrees in Canton. And today is the last day of spring. We've got, the shortest night of the year, and then the change of seasons happening tomorrow. And with us, St. Lawrence University astronomer Eileen O'Donoghue.
Yes.
Wow.
This is, for all of you lovers of the light, this is the shortest night. So I expect you all to be up and enjoying the sunlight, while I'm going to, put a sleeping bag in a closet to try and find some dark. It barely gets dark at night. It's only truly dark for about 6 hours.
We were just talking about that a moment ago, that it doesn't last very long.
No, 3:30 in the morning is, astronomical twilight, and then 10:30 at night, it's just, and in Europe this time of year, they have no night.
Yeah.
Remember, we live at the latitude of Venice. All of Europe is north of us. Yeah, and, Scotland's in the middle of Hudson Bay for us,
So this is a tough time to be an astronomer.
Well, it's when we relax.
It's when
we can go to bed because it's light out.
You let your hair
down and you do some repair work on the telescopes.
That's right. Most observatories actually do shut down in the summer because they need to do the maintenance, and the nights are so short that you don't get that much observing, which is inconvenient if there are things you want to see in the summer skies. But
right. You have to wait till winter or something.
Yes.
So the solstice starts tomorrow at 10:57.
That is the moment when the sun is farthest north. And so if you're watching sunrise and sunset, it's farthest north. So, go, on your, if you see the shadow of the sun as it's setting on your wall, mark it. And then wait and then mark it on the winter solstice. And see, it moves about 70 degrees across the horizon. Wow. It really, but think at the Arctic Circle, it moves 180 degrees across the horizon. So,
you can. It is interesting in the winter. You do, especially for me at least. I noticed. I think the angle of the sun obviously is different in the winter.
It changes dramatically.
Yes. So I have a question for you. Astronomical twilight.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
That's when it's fully dark.
11:19.
Yeah, and the sun is 18 degrees below the horizon. And so that's what we astronomers consider fully dark.
Oh, okay.
And so we don't have any sunlight scattering in the atmosphere. So when we're observing, we go from astronomical twilight to astronomical twilight, which in December is quite a long time.
Yeah.
So it's in Europe, they don't get to astronomical twilight this time of year. So
right, and that's another way of saying then it's a good time to look at the night sky.
Yes,
after 11:19 p.m.
That's the best time. Right. So, but we still have in the evening sky, Venus is very bright, and then Mars, it's faint. It's 199 million miles away right now. It's on the far side of the sun. And Venus is on the near side of the sun. It's going to pass between Earth and the sun on August 13. But they look close together. If you hold your arm out at full length, they're about 3 fingers apart, with Mars up and to the left of Venus. And Venus is the first thing you spot in the evening. It comes out, and then on the other side of the sky, in the eastern sky, the star Vega, which is in the summer triangle.
Not Vega?
I always say Vega.
Oh, okay, Vega. All right.
Yes.
VEGA.
VEGA in the constellation of the lyre, the stringed instrument, and Vega means swooping eagle. And it's right there with Cygnus, the swan, who was flying down the Milky Way.
So I have one little story to share, and that is late May. I went out right after sunset, I think it was, maybe during sunset, and I saw the crescent moon and Venus and Jupiter, I think.
Yeah.
And then there was Mars, very faint, and further up and to the left.
Right. We had that lovely alignment in late May.
And I posted on my Instagram account, get off social media right now and go outside and look at the night sky.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then now they're going to herd themselves into the morning sky for a while. Jupiter is up in the morning sky now. It's bright, low in the east, but very bright. Saturn is up in the morning sky, and then that pesky sun comes up so freaking early. You know,
that other bright thing.
That is definitely the brightest star in the sky. Yeah, but in the evenings, the Big Dipper is right overhead. You can see the arc of the handle, make an arc to Arcturus, and then a spike to Spica in Virgo, and nestled kind of beneath the tail of the Great Bear, and to the right of Arcturus, there's a very faint constellation called Coma Berenices, the hair of Bernice, because Bernice, when Ptolemy was off in a war, Bernice cut her hair off and left it as an offering to the gods, and they were so impressed with that they put her in the sky. But one of the reasons for this name is that there is a cluster of stars in Coma Berenices. So if you're out, I mean, this week with the waxing moon is not so great, but it's still going to be a thin crescent tomorrow. And so to get out your binoculars and, kind of scan beneath the tail of beneath the tail of the...
In a matter of speaking,
yes. So it's kind of a pretty part and part of the sky. And speaking of... what was I going to say? I was talking about the moon. The moon is going to be moving tomorrow night. It's going to be like 3 degrees from Venus, the waxing crescent. It just is going to be just lovely the next couple of nights with that thin. I saw the thin waxing crescent last night, and it's thickening, and so it's just going to be very pretty and glittery. And then as we move into July, the Milky Way, the center of the Milky Way rises with the constellations of Scorpius and Sagittarius. And it's the prettiest part of the Milky Way in the northern hemisphere. So it's really, I hope you have a low southern horizon. You can appreciate that.
That's when you can lay out in your sleeping bag and late at night and despite the bugs, see that Milky Way.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. So there's all this pretty stuff going on, and it looks like we might have clear skies for a few days. And let's hope the smoke doesn't come back. So.
Well, and it also looks like in the evening skies, Scorpius, Sagittarius rising. They're coming too.
Yes. They're with where the center of the Milky Way is.
Oh,
yeah.
Wonderful.
So they're lovely constellation. I mean, Scorpius, one of my friends said that when she was a little kid, about 10 years old, she finally identified Scorpius and was so big it scared her. She ran inside because the tail dips down. We only see the tail, for a couple of weeks in the summer before that tail dips down below the horizon. And so it's nice after this. When we get past full moon in another 3 weeks, that'll be the time to really look at that part of the sky as it's rising and see if you can spot the entire tail of Scorpius.
So summer, short nights, long days, but still there's always something happening up in the sky.
The
right?
planets are always moving. We're on this great racetrack of the solar system. And so they're always moving. And that's one of the things I really enjoy is seeing those changes. And those changes really mystified the ancients. They were very bothered by these wandering bright lights. And so that motivated people figuring this out from Ptolemy to Copernicus to Kepler. And basically that's where that was the motivation to invent physics. Or discover physics, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Is these puzzling lights that move around in the sky, so it's fun to watch them move. Right now, Venus is getting closer to Mars. It'll get about another 1.5 degrees closer, and then it's going to start falling away from Mars because it's coming around the sun. It's coming toward us, and it's going to pass between us and the sun. So we're seeing it sink back toward the sun as it's moving toward that. And if you can get a sense of that great racetrack, and that Mars is on the other side of the racetrack, past the middle, and Venus is on this side coming toward us. And, just see it in 3D. There is the orrery on inthesky.org if you need help. Mm-hmm. Yes.
in-the-sky.org.
Yep, yep.
Great website.
Well, I'm still entranced by how you talked about the moon and Venus. I didn't mean to miss the moment there, but I was just telling somebody last night, actually about you, Eileen, and I said, yes,
it was a good thing.
And I just said, if you ever get discouraged or have a hard time, listen to an astronomer. Because every astronomer I've heard from, yourself included, Eileen, I mean, awe in the truest sense of the word.
Oh, yeah.
I know I say that all the time, but it's really striking to see in you and hear how you talk about it. I'm interrupting you.
Yeah,
but
that's okay. We live in an amazing universe, and I have the extraordinary privilege of being able to make a living talking about it, and observing it. I'm wearing a T-shirt today that I got at the Green Bank Observatory. I was there last week in the National Radio Quiet Zone, no cell phone coverage. It's for our students, it's a real wild, no Wi-Fi, no cell phone. It's like, oh my God. And so this shirt says, "Let the stars free your soul." And that's how I feel. No matter what's going on, you look up at the stars and the planets and that vast wilderness above, and it's like, all will be well. Yeah. I mean, these little human things, they go by, but the stars are there. Yeah. And they're our ultimate parents. We're made of the elements they created.
Yes.
We'll keep watching those wanderers.
Yeah, in both hours of dark.
Eileen O'Donoghue teaches physics and astronomy at St. Lawrence University, and she'll be back again next month to tell us more about what's up in the sky.
Yep, what to look for.
Thanks, Eileen.
Bye.
We're listening to a song now by the Plattsburgh-based group Periscope Dream. They're an R&B group out of Plattsburgh with Edward Morris on bass, keyboard player Morris Norlis, drummer Josu DeLuna, and singer Trish DeLuna. You can find them this Friday evening at Old Soul Design Shop on Margaret Street in Plattsburgh. They go on at 8 o'clock. This is their song, Only You.
Northern Light is supported by Adirondack Land Trust with 27,000 acres of forests, farmlands, waters, and wild places conserved since 1984. AdirondackLandTrust.org. Stay tuned. More of Morning Edition coming up in just a moment.
Then after that, it's the Marketplace Morning Report between 8:51 and 9 o'clock, where you get caught up on all the morning's business news. That's it for the show. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe. Be well.